Melania uses the power of light to make the sun warm, while Fred uses the power of darkness to call out the night. Just like that, the world is made of them, the people of the Ubera Empire. The royal family Melania and the Grand Duke family Fred are beautiful and noble existences that can control souls. They are unique in the Ubera Empire. In a castle, a young girl reads a book and can't believe that it is called a one-of-a-kind existence. She is Dorothea Melania, princess of the Ubera Empire. A small kid calls out to her, and Dorothea tells him to be quiet. The boy apologizes as he follows Dorothea. The annoying boy that is following Dorothea is Raymond Melania, the crown prince of the Ubera Empire. Well, to be exact, the crown prince died in Dorothea's hands. This is Dorothea's second life, a last chance for a tyrant like her. Her goal in this second life is to live like a good person. She used to be evil. After killing Raymond, she became the tyrant emperor of Ubera. She handled all those who stood in her way and shared power with those on her level. However, destruction always comes. The man she loved hated her and chose death. Those who shared powers with her decided to hang her up. Everyone burned her palace and summoned her death. It was enough for her life, and Dorothea accepted her fate. However, she gains consciousness as a baby. The tyrant Dorothea now has a new life. She learned a valuable lesson in her first life, to live properly. Killing Raymond and taking the throne was the start of her tyranny. Dorothea decides not to kill him this time and tolerates what he does. However, seeing Raymond being annoying makes Dorothea want to kill him. Dorothea didn't like him because he took everything from her despite being an idiot. A maid appears to warn Raymond not to bother his sister. The maid is surprised that Dorothea is reading something advanced and even corrects the maid's knowledge about the history of the empire. She calls Dorothea a genius after studying all of Melania's family tree. She plans to tell the emperor, but Dorothea doesn't seem to like it. Dorothea then tells the maid not to tell her father, Karnan Melania, the current emperor. The word father is foreign to Dorothea, and she can't understand it. She was ignored because she couldn't inherit Melania's aptitude. Her mother died when she was born, and that is why Karnan was indifferent to her. She worked so hard just to get his father's attention. However, Karnan still didn't care about Dorothea. Raymond, on the other hand, always gets something without doing anything. She wonders why Karnan loves Raymond, who is only a stupid kid, while Dorothea is working so hard and doing her best. That is the start of Dorothea's hatred for Raymond. She wanted to torture her brother. However, Karnan's hatred for Dorothea deepens. She soon realizes that what she is doing is like reaching for the moon. Just like that, her anger and resentment became the seeds of her cruelty. Envy, jealousy, trampling, looting, and greed are what made Dorothea the tyrant. It doesn't matter now though. Dorothea knows it is her fault for not being cute. She is fine not seeing his father and finds it better to live well instead. The maid keeps watching Dorothea and feels bad that the emperor won't know that his daughter is being studious. The next day, Dorothea and the maid take a walk outside. The maid points out a garden, and Dorothea remembers that it was Alice's garden, a garden that Karnan made for his wife Alice, who always misses her hometown. She feels nostalgic as she enters the garden. Just then, she hears someone saying goodbye to the emperor. Dorothea looks back and sees her father. Karnan glares at her and asks angrily why someone dared to step into Alice's garden. Dorothea reminds herself that she will live like a good person in this life. The maid intervenes and claims that it is Dorothea, Karnan's daughter. Karnan glares at her and calls her disrespectful and uneducated. The maid tries to save Dorothea's face by calling her special, and the princess can only sigh. Dorothea steps forward and gracefully introduces herself to Karnan. Karnan gets impressed and asks how old she is. Dorothea calmly replied back. Karnan wonders how special she is, but Dorothea claims that it was only her nanny's exaggeration. The maid then butts in and claims that Dorothea is humble and has remembered all royal etiquette. Karnan wonders and asks Dorothea to tell them. Dorothea asks her father why he is asking when he already knows them. The two glare and argue with each other. The maid can see two beasts growling at each other. Dorothea then points out how busy Karnan is, to the point that he hasn't visited her once even since Dorothea was born. She even tells him not to waste both of their time. Karnan then realizes that the maid is not wrong. He then asks what Dorothea wants. Dorothea is surprised, as she hadn't heard those words from Karnan before. If it was her previous self, she would be happy. But now she doesn't expect anything from him. Dorothea then asks him to make the most premium wine and name it after her. Karnan gets mad at the nanny for teaching Dorothea something not meant for kids. Dorothea then saves her nanny and claims that she read it from a book called Portrait of Babelua, where the main character drinks wine romantically with her lover. Karnan can't believe an 8-year-old kid can read such a complicated book. Karnan then agrees with what Dorothea wants, but he will punish her nanny if he finds a mistake in her royal etiquette. Dorothea realizes that her tyranny came from her father. She then decides to recite Milania's etiquette to him. She doesn't want her nanny to be punished. After that incident, Dorothea's nanny always wanted the emperor to take care of her, but he didn't come even once. Even though it is quite annoying, Dorothea is thankful to her nanny. To live like a good person is to avoid things that make her uncomfortable. She just realized that she should have lived peacefully and let things happen naturally. Just then, Raymond appears to annoy Dorothea again. Hearing him arrive, Dorothea runs away. He just wants to show Dorothea the spirit of light. Dorothea finds it annoying. The spirit of light is a blessing that only those from the royal family can have. Melania's power used to make the sun rise, but now it is weaker and can only light a candle. As a result, Melania's can't control souls anymore, just like Dorothea. She was completely abandoned by Melania's tradition. She hated the gods and got jealous of Raymond. She then decides to discard the ancient legends and change the era. She still failed and died as a tyrant. A bad ending befitting someone who went against the legends. It doesn't matter to her now. Raymond is disappointed that Dorothea is missing. Dorothea then sneaks away, but he bumps into someone in a corner. She falls to the ground, and a boy apologizes. Dorothea blushes as she looks at the boy and wonders why he is here. He was the man he loved the most. However, his greed also killed her. He is the man she hates the most at the same time after he killed himself. He was her love, breath, and destiny. The boy helps Dorothea stand up while panicking. Dorothea has never forgotten Theon. Theon continues apologizing and notices how dirty Dorothea's dress has become. He gives her his handkerchief and sees that Dorothea has sprained her leg. Dorothea cries as she tells him that she misses him. Theon wonders why Dorothea knows his name. Dorothea continues crying, and Theon decides not to pry first on the matter and continues to console her. He tells Dorothea to stop crying. Theon had resented Dorothea before, but now he is living well. Dorothea knows that this is not a dream and realizes why she returned to the past. Just then, Raymond appears and worries about seeing Dorothea sitting on the ground. Raymond pauses, seeing her sister's leg hurt with a sprain. He immediately jumps on Theon and claims that they should have been friends. He angrily asks if he made Dorothea cry. Theon thinks he might be at fault. Raymond calls Theon bad because he hasn't seen his sister cry before. Raymond continues shouting at Theon. Dorothea stops her brother and claims that something just got into her eyes. Raymond believes her, and Dorothea is thankful that her brother is dumb. Raymond continues checking on Dorothea's sister. Theon can't believe the princess just covered for his impoliteness. He knows there is no way for him to be close to her and wonders why she cried with such a sad expression. Raymond then remembers that Theon is still there, and he apologizes for acting rashly out of nowhere. Theon tells him that it is fine. Raymond then introduces Theon to Dorothea as his friend. Theon apologizes for his rude manners earlier. He formally introduces himself. Dorothea wears a bittersweet smile and remembers that this is a new life. This is their new beginning, and they love Theon more. Just then, a girl asks why Theon went alone. Dorothea remembers the woman's voice. It is Theon's first and last love, Julia Delaving. Theon had no choice but to marry Dorothea. He only loved Julia until her death. They are childhood friends and are close. Dorothea wished for Karnan and Theon's love, but to no avail. Dorothea led a life without love. Even after they got married, Theon was still in touch with Julia. Dorothea saw expressions that were not meant for her. She had wished for Julia's death. When Julia was killed, Dorothea was so happy. She thought Theon would come to her, but the latter escaped and chose death. Her selfish love killed Theon. Until now, the feeling still wanted to tear her heart apart. She watches as the three other kids get along and laugh. Julia brightly greets Dorothea. However, Dorothea can't say anything. She is anxious that Theon and Julia will be together again in this life. She wonders what kind of expression she is wearing right now. Dorothea turns around to go back to her room. Raymond tries to stop her, and the other two are confused. Seeing the people who were killed by her own hands, Dorothea knows that she doesn't have a place among them. Her nanny worries that Dorothea is not joining the other kids. Dorothea just claims that she is tired. Dorothea lies down on her bed, crying while holding Theon's handkerchief. Another day in the palace, Dorothea reads a book while someone is frantically walking back and forth. Dorothea sighs and closes her book. She tells Raymond to stay still. Raymond is just anxious because he will be declared later as the official crown prince. He wonders if he looks like a crown prince to her. Dorothea scans Raymond, who is acting like a cute puppy. She tells him that he looks like an idiot. She asks him to fix his face, which Raymond does literally. Dorothea is worried about the future of the empire. Raymond then wishes for Dorothea to be the crown prince instead. He claims that his sister is more talented and smarter than him, which will make her a great emperor. With a dark expression, she claims that she can't summon spirits. Raymond claims that there is no way a talented kid like Dorothea can't do it. Dorothea now remembers that Raymond's innocence is poison to her. However, she knows that Raymond will gradually understand the pressure of his own casual words. Raymond then asks to be cheered on by his sister. He keeps insisting, and Dorothea wishes the ceremony to fail instead. Dorothea escapes, and Raymond tries to follow her, but the nanny calls him for the ceremony. The coronation of the emperor's successor is one of the most important events in the empire. Dorothea didn't expect it to be this simple and normal. She recalls overdoing it before. Karnan appears with a graceful entrance. He recites the doctrine of millennia with a scepter that Dorothea clearly recognizes. However, it is missing the soul stone. She wonders if it has not been discovered yet. She can't clearly remember it from her first life. Still, it is irrelevant to her now. The ordination ceremony officially starts. Raymond appears with an entrance befitting a successor. He walks toward the emperor, and Dorothea hopes nothing weird happens. Raymond notices her and smiles cheerfully. She signals for her to focus and walk ahead. He nods, and Dorothea gets headaches from his dumb brother's actions. Raymond kneels before the emperor, and he gets officially crowned. Dorothea hopes that the emperor's successor this time will be great enough to leave a mark in history. Everyone is celebrating, and Karnan announces that the ceremony will be shortened. As Dorothea stays behind with his father and brother, she remembers that the name Milenia is like a curse to her. Just then, some nobles commended how Dorothea looked like her late mother, the Empress, when she was young. Dorothea checks on her father as she recalls facing situations like this. Karnan tells them to stop speaking nonsense. They apologize and leave as Dorothea wears another blank expression. Even though she rejected it, she couldn't get out of the position of being treated as a ghost while Karnan and Raymond are the center of the story. She can't also just leave because she is a Milenia. She recalls standing in the center and bragging about her worth. Just then, Raymond calls out to her. Dorothea just hopes that the ceremony will end soon, and she looks to the side. A familiar figure approaches Dorothea while she is already antsy to leave. The boy asks if it is not interesting. Dorothea looks at him as she recognizes the owner of the voice. Theon appears with a flowery background. Will Dorothea be able to continue her plan to live like a good person? If you love watching more recap videos, make sure to subscribe to our channel. See you next time.